Each day is a gift from God. Each moment is that opportunity to reach out in service to all creation. Each day is a reminder of the new covenant, not written on stone tablets easily broken, but inscribed on our hearts, filled with joy and hope. Each day we draw closer to God, who has forgotten more than we ever learn, who has forgiven us more than we ever acknowledge. Come, let's worship God. Good morning. My name is Tom O'Brien, and I am blessed to serve Memorial Congregational Church as pastor and teacher. And this morning, know that no matter where we are church. We are gathered together in spirit, even when we can't be together physically. As we were talking about hymns to play, Rachel and I were wondering about changing the opening hymn, We Gather Together, but we've really decided that this is what we want to stick with, because we continue to gather together, even when we are not physically present with each other. And there will come a day when we can all sing this song together in the sanctuary, in the same room together, and how lovely that will be.
Hi everyone, my name is Beth Whitlock. This is a strange time full of unexpected connections and broken ones. Chris and I are very excited, though our children may not be, that they have had to unexpectedly return to the nest, and Chris and I are enjoying time playing with, cooking with our two grown-up babies who are with us again. I'm pleased that the internet exists in the time of pandemic because I'm able to see all of my patients on schedule every day and keep that connection. For me, the hardest is that my mother is in an assisted living facility, so I'm not able to see her, visit her. However, I've taught her how to use FaceTime on the computer, and we drive over to her building and she looks out the window and we call and talk to each other on the phone while we can see each other. I'm very grateful to staff around the world who are working with the isolated elderly at this time. So could you now please join me in a spirit of prayer? Dear God, thank you for all of our gifts and our strengths, and thank you for allowing us to accept help when we feel weak. Please guide parents around the world who are summoning patience with no separation from their children. Please guide teachers around the world who need to learn a new way to teach. Please help those around the world whose income has disappeared. Please help those that are grieving, those that are anxious and depressed, those that are ill. Help us to understand that in many ways we are all anxious, depressed, and grieving at this time of uncertainty. Thank you for entering the soul of caregivers and comedians and poets who make us see scary times in a positive light. Let us now hear the words of Lynn Ungar's poem entitled Pandemic. Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has become clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Amen.
Each week, we renew our promises to God and to each other. Please join me now as we recite the covenant of Memorial Congregational Church. In the love of truth and in the spirit of Jesus, we unite for the worship of God and the service of humanity. And as the Lord's free people, we agree to walk together in all God's ways, made known to us or to be made known to us. God's way is the way of peace. And peace is something that we can share even when we're not physically present. I invite you now to hold up your hand, to be with those who are sharing in this worship service, virtually, for those who are thinking of us, for those who cannot be with us right now. And I invite you to feel the Spirit of God, to feel the peace of God. As we share that peace with each other, we take it and we bring it into our hearts.
We are sleeping in the light of God. We are reading in the light of God. We are reading in the light of God.
I love eating in the light of God. I love eating in the light of God. We are mustaching in the light of God. We are mustaching in the light of God.
We are stuffing fighting in the light of God. We are stuffing fighting in the light of God.
We are cracking nuts in the light of God. We are cracking nuts in the light of God.
We are dancing in the light of God. We are dancing in the light of God. We are playing in the light of God. We are playing in the light of God.
We are playing.
We are playing.
We are playing.
We are playing.
We are playing in the light of God.
Good morning. My name is Miss Stephanie. I'm the Minister of Youth and Families. At this time, I ask any and all children of God to come and join me for a special children's moment. So, Bentley, can you tell me what's going on in the world right now?
So there's the coronavirus. It's going around the world. So we have to we can't go to other people's houses and play with them. Or we can't leave our houses.
How does that make you feel?
Really sad.
That makes you feel sad. Why does it make you feel sad?
Because I don't get to see my friends that often anymore.
Yeah.
But he'll put these in.
How about you girls? How have you been? Has your week been? Have you had a good week?
But my Missy and Missy 12 said that they're at home.
Your teachers are at home, yeah?
I'm sad.
You're sad you miss them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what kind of things have you been doing to help spread God's love? Hartley.
Staying home, and also we could give presents while they're at home, while they're sick, and we could stay in the cars and mail them in their mailboxes. But we might not know if they're mailboxes. Might not know if we might get it in the wrong mailbox.
In the wrong mailbox. Well, if we deliver something to somebody, we probably want to have their correct address.
Yeah, or if you touch someone else's mailbox, it might have germs on it.
It's very true. Can you tell me what kind of things you've been doing to spread God's love?
And you put food on your mind.
I think you've been making cards for your people, right?
Yep, and I also get to chat with my friends on a app called Messenger Kids.
Yeah, so you get to see your friends now, right? So yesterday, our friend George and I went and volunteered at the Sudbury Food Pantry. A lot of the food pantry
It's in this spirit that the senior choir has put together a gift for all of you from their hearts and their spirits. We're not on balconies in Florence singing to each other, but we can do the same thing for all of you in our own way. And I hope you enjoy this.
and life flows on in endless song.
Above earth's lamentation, I hear the
Feel afar of him that has on all creation.
All the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing.
It's an echo in my soul. How can I
Keep from singing
with all my joys and comforts die, the Lord my Savior liveth.
What though the darkness gather round, songs in the night
giveth? No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that refuge
huge clinging, since Christ is Lord of heaven and earth.
How can I keep from singing?
I lift mine eyes, the cloud grows thin. I see the blue above it.
and day by day this pathway smooth.
since first I learned to love it.
the peace of Christ makes fresh my heart.
a fountain ever springing.
All things are mine since I am his.
How can I keep from singing?
We continue our journey through the Gospel of Mark, and this is where we are this week. Listen now for the words of God in Mark chapter 13. As Jesus was leaving the temple, one of the disciples commented in passing, "Look, teacher, what huge stones these are. What wonderful buildings." Jesus replied, "See these great buildings? Not a single stone will be left on another. Everything will be torn down." As Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives facing the temple, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us, when will all this happen? What will be the sign that all this is about to take place?" Jesus began by saying, "Be on your guard that no one deceives you. Many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the one,' and they will deceive many. When you hear of wars and rumors of war, do not be alarmed. Things like this must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and empire against empire. There will be earthquakes throughout the world and famines. Yet this is only the beginning of the labor pains." We continue with verse 24. "But in those days, after that time of distress, the sun will be darkened, the moon will lose its brightness, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers in the heaven will be shaken. Then they will see the promised one coming in the clouds with great power and glory. Then the angels will be sent to gather the chosen from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. Take the fig tree as a parable. As soon as its twigs grow supple and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. In the same way, when you see these things happening, know that the promised one is near, right at the door. The truth is, before this generation has passed away, all these things will have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But as for that day or hour, nobody knows it, neither the angels of heaven nor the only begotten, No one but Abba God. Be constantly on the watch. Stay awake. You do not know when the appointed time will come. It's like people traveling abroad. They leave their home and put the workers in charge, each with a certain task. And those who watch at the front gate are ordered to stay on the alert. So stay alert. You do not know when the owner of the house is coming, whether at dusk, at midnight, when the cock crows, or at early dawn. Do not let the owner come so suddenly and catch you asleep. What I say to you, I say to all. Stay alert. Here ends our reading. May we be blessed with wisdom and courage for our interpretation. Seriously, narrative lectionary editors. Seriously, Gospel of Mark. Seriously, Holy Spirit. This is the text that we have to look at this week of all weeks. Okay, so another apocalyptic text. Another text that's talking about the end of the world as we know it. Wonderful. Let's look at the history a bit. Mark's gospel was probably written around 67 to 70 AD. This was right around just before or just after the Romans destroyed the temple in Jerusalem. Now, this is a pivotal event, right? For Jewish worshipers at the time, the temple is the center of their religion, the center of their world. The temple is where they go to participate in ritual sacrifices to gain God's forgiveness. This is where they worship together. This is where God lives, where God is uniquely present. God lives in the center of the temple, behind a veil in a room where only a select few religious leaders can enter. The temple is proof that God exists and that God is all powerful. And then the temple is destroyed. Their ways of worship, their way of life, everything they know is forever changed. This Sunday is the last Sunday of Lent. Every year we go through these 7 weeks and we walk with the disciples and Jesus toward Jerusalem, towards Gethsemane, towards Golgotha. We walk alongside as Jesus talks about discrimination and distress, destruction and death. We watch them as they struggle and as they worry about what's happening and what's going to happen. But we know how their story ends. And so we don't usually enter into their distress with them. We know that the story of arrest and torture and crucifixion ends with an empty tomb just a few short days later. We know when, where, and how Easter will come. And the story is the same every year. But this year, every year has always been the same. We enter into Lent, maybe we give a few things up, maybe we try to change our lives and our routines, at least a little bit. But we know that it will be over soon, and we know what it'll all look like when it's done. When it's all over, nothing will really change. The disciples didn't know the end of the story, even though Jesus told them. The disciples didn't know the timeline. I'm sure if they had a choice, the disciples would make Easter come on their timeline, not God's. The story that Jesus tells in this week's text is ominous. And it's easy for us to think that it's painting a picture of the end of the world. The temple will fall, the sky will be dark, the earth will shake. You do not know when the owner of the house is coming, whether at dusk, at midnight, when the cock crows, or at early dawn. Do not let the owner come suddenly and catch you asleep. We may think that Jesus is talking about the end of the world, but Jesus and Mark are telling the story of the passion that's about to play out in the gospel. At dusk is when the disciples gather for the Last Supper. Midnight is when Jesus is arrested in the garden. Peter's denial occurs when the cock crows, And Jesus is brought before Pilate in the early dawn. Stay awake. Stay alert, Jesus says, just as he will to his friends in the garden. Stay awake. But we know that they won't. Jesus tells them everything, but they don't want to hear. They ask the wrong questions, and they don't listen to the answers. And in the end, the world as they know it will end. Their lives will change forever. Their leader, teacher, and friend will be killed. The temple, the center of their faith, will be destroyed. If we could be in this story with them, maybe we'd tell them not to worry. Maybe we'd tell them that we know all about Easter, and that we know exactly when and how it will happen. But as for that day or hour, Jesus says, nobody knows it. Neither the angels of heaven, nor the only begotten. No one but Abba God. Be constantly on watch. Stay awake. You do not know when the appointed time will come. I have never experienced a Lent like this year's Lent. I've never walked so closely with the disciples in their distress and despair. I've never worried about when Lent will end and when Easter will come. But this year, I do believe that Easter will come, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be on April 12th. I do believe that Easter will come, but we have a lot more Lent to get through first. I do believe that Easter will come. It will come on whatever Sunday we are able to physically gather together once again. And on that day, we will celebrate the resurrection. We will bask in the glory of God and community, and we will shout and sing hallelujah. Easter will come, but it's not on our timeline. But as for that day or hour, nobody knows it, neither the angels of heaven nor the only begotten. No one but Abba God. Be constantly on the watch. Stay awake. After the first Easter, the disciples' lives didn't go back to normal. Things didn't go back to the way that they always knew them. Their lives were still changed. Their world as they knew it ended. But that new world tore open the veils of the inner sanctum and released the Holy One from where we tried to trap God. That new world moved worship from one fancy building far away from most worshipers' houses and gathered the church at the foot of the cross and in the hearts of the people. That new world revealed God in the places we least expect to see God, not in ornate structures, but on the side of the road, not in the rich and famous, but in the poor and oppressed, not in the powerful and the violent, but in the loving and forgiving. We are on a journey through Lent, and neither I nor anyone else knows when it will be over. We don't know when Easter will come, and we don't know what our world and our lives will be like when it does. But we know that Easter will come. And we know that if we stay alert, God will remain faithful to us through all of the changes. We know that Christ will lead us into a resurrected world where the divine will continue to be revealed to us in new and amazing ways and unexpected ways, where we will put the health of all above the riches of a few, where we will sacrifice our own personal comfort so that we can care for all of God's creation. We know that the Holy Spirit will be with us when change and tears are past and all safe and blessed, we shall meet at last. But as for that day or hour, nobody knows it, neither the angels of heaven nor the only begotten. No one but Abba God. Be constantly on the watch. Stay awake. We don't know when Easter will come this year, but until it does, we will stay awake and we will continue to experience God with us. wherever we are. Amen. Please join me now in prayer. And if you feel so moved, please feel free to lift up prayers in the comments on Facebook. O God of resurrection and change, we know that you are with us. Even in our struggles, we feel your presence. We see you in the smile of our friends and neighbors. We hear you in the applause and the songs of shared celebration. We witness you in the work of those who are doing your work, who are caring for your creation, both in body, mind, and spirit. God, be with us during this difficult time. God, be here, be known to us. Help us to feel your presence. God, many of us are struggling. Many of us are grieving the life that we've always known. We're grieving the ability to feel like we know what's going on. Many of us are grieving in real ways the death of loved ones. We're seeing folks that we know struggle with sickness. Surround us with power, God. Surround us with comfort and with love so that we can join our spirits together, that we can amplify your love, that we can provide comfort to others when we are feeling stronger, and we can ask for comfort when we need it. Prayers, God, for Casey's co-worker's mother who has serious pneumonia, for Lola's sister-in-law, Mary Beth, who's a nurse in the hospital where COVID is being treated and who is also pregnant. Prayers for Carol and Mary Lou, who miss being with us and who we miss seeing. Prayers for those living alone. For Jill's friend Nancy in Vermont, a social worker dealing with elderly people. God, be with those whose names we lift up in our community. Be with those whose names we hold in our hearts. And we take a moment now in silence to lift up our unwritten and unspoken prayers. God, we thank you for Jesus Christ, who gives us so much, who gives us comfort, who gives us hope, who shows us that we can be resurrected. We lift up to him, God. We lift up to you now, God, the prayers that Jesus taught us, praying together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And now that my mic is on, you can hear me, so let me start over again. Sorry about that. I'm sorry about a couple technical issues. Sorry about the technical issues for the children's moment. I'll send out that video later on by email so that everyone can take a look at that. In the video, Stephanie talked about working at the Sudbury Food Pantry. They are in need of volunteers. If you're able to help out with that, please let me know or let George Connor know. And there are other opportunities around town, I know, for volunteering. So just keep letting folks know that you're willing and able. I know George is dialed into a couple different organizations. You can register at neighborsbrigade.org. They're doing some stuff. And as we just continue to move forward, we're trying to figure out ways that we can all help one another out. Following the service here on Facebook, join us on Zoom for our virtual coffee hour. We gather together as a group, and then we also break out into some breakout rooms, into smaller groups, so that folks can touch base and have conversations and get to see some friends again. Another way that we're able to help in town, to help our church family, church members are able to request funds from the Deacons Fund that's managed by the deacons. This is a fund that we have that can help with some emergency money to help get through some of these difficult times, to help pay for some bills and things like that. You can, if you find that you have some money to spare, you can donate to the Deacons Fund and also to the operating funds of the church by going to mcc.org/donate. There are a couple options there where you can donate. You can also Venmo at MCC Sudbury. And if you'd like those funds to go to the Deacons Fund, just leave that in the comments. I think that's everything that I have to say here. Thank you for joining me again. And as we continue to move through this difficult and strange time, know that God is with you. Now go forth into the world and serve God with gladness. Be of good courage. Hold fast to that which is good. Render to no one evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the afflicted. Honor all people, loving and serving God, rejoicing in the power of the Holy Spirit, now and into the life everlasting. May the Lord bless you as you walk in the way of Christ Jesus, in thought, word, and deed. May Christ's life be yours now and always. And may God be with you till we meet again.